Well, this is Chapter 6, Mastering the Master Budget, and it's going to be just Part 1, the introductory material from the chapter. And the chapter is good. It starts out with the reasons for budgeting, and I can't stress to you enough how important this is and what a big piece of my life professionally it was for a long time, because what you're really doing is you're allocating resources from the company that are in demand, that everybody wants. So it's a lot of decisions go into budgets, and it's also like a score, like a musical score. This is how the company's going to run for the next year. So the reasons why we're budgeting is first of all, it's to get everybody coordinated and know what we're doing, to help control costs for sure, because if you do a budget and you find out your costs are crazy, then that's your chance to take a look at your process and see what needs to change, and then to help make smarter decisions. All right, like if you can look at different alternatives, ways to do things, or how much maybe a particular department is taking in resources and how much they're putting back in, okay, things like that. So the next pieces are the different types of budgets. And believe me, there are a couple multiple choice questions in this area, okay, so it's something that you need to be aware of. A rolling budget. This is a nice budget because what it does is when one month finishes, it adds another month to it. So it shows a constant interval, and it could be 6 months. Generally, what I've seen is 13 months. It'll be 1 month over a year. So it just kind of rolls and, incorporates new information, and so you're always looking at like at least a 12-month horizon. And then a zero-based budget is my favorite. I like this. I think it should be used every now and then. You'd be surprised at the number of places that take last year's budget and add a percentage to it and then call it this year's budget. And what happens is it just gets bigger. Everything just grows. So and with the zero-based budget, you don't have any starting point. Each department has to justify where its money's going and what it's spending on every year, from zero on up. So in my view, the governmental accounting frequently uses budgets that start out with a certain number and then increase it the next year. I think they should definitely be brought to zero-based budgets every now and then, and just clean it out. Get rid of extra things that just build up in there, because that's what happens. And then there's another piece in there on imposed versus participative budgets, and an imposed budget is created by executives. It's a top-down decision and imposed on by managers. And it's usually done by very large companies with little decision-making at the lower levels. In other words, let's say that you've got a whole bunch of gas stations your Shell oil, and you've got a whole bunch of gas stations that you need to budget for. You can just give them their budget. You're a gas station, you're not going to really benefit from participative budgeting or get any new information out of them, because they really don't make decisions. They don't really have that much control over what they're going to sell, or definitely not on what it costs. Okay, but managers that are involved in the company and have decision-making ability, they want to participate in the budget. Okay, they want to have their voice heard, and the company also wants to get their buy-in. All right, so here's a couple multiple choice questions to take a look at. This Jayco Limited is involved in an incremental extension of their existing budget model. Which type of budget should be used? So it's an incremental extension of their existing budget. So which is that? An imposed budget, participative budget, a rolling budget, or zero-based? I can't really wait to hear from you, can I? Okay, an incremental extension would be a rolling budget. Okay, definitely not A or B, and not a zero-based budget for sure. Okay, so that's what a rolling budget is. These are good questions though, because they turn the material a little bit sideways and force you to think a little bit. And then the next one is Kevin is preparing the budgeted income statement for Nutshell Corp for the upcoming month of February, and has used the following information. He's got sales, expected cost of goods sold, administrative expenses. If Kevin has ignored all information from the previous month, what kind of budget is it? Okay, do you have your answer? Okay, so the previous months don't matter. This would be a zero-based budget. Okay. Okay, these are all in the Chapter 6 folder too. And one more piece here before we start budgeting. I think we got one more problem. But responsibility centers, and you've seen this before, but it's important for budgeting. It's important, for a lot of ways. But this is a business unit is organized by focus or area of control, and we break them up into cost centers, where the unit is only responsible for managing costs. There is no revenue, or a revenue center, which is responsibility for generating revenue, and you can think a sales department here would be typical. Even in let's say a large builder might have a sales department for houses. They don't have any control over cost or investment. They're just there for sales. Okay, so that's a sales center would be typical. A cost center would be accounting. Okay, we are definitely a cost. We don't generate any income. Now, a profit center has both cost and revenue, so think profit. Okay, so that would be revenue minus costs. And finally, an investment center that's responsible for profit in addition to the investment, the balance sheet. And this is done with like maybe a unit from who am I thinking of? Big companies that have subsidiaries. Okay, like a GE. That's what I was thinking. Okay, they would have a lot of investment centers that actually operate independently, although they're part of the corporation, part of General, well, it could be General Motors, couldn't it? GE, okay, General Electric. So accountability, responsibility, and authority exist in all well-functioning organizations. And if you ever take a job in a small company and you don't see these things, you're going to be headed for some trouble. Okay, they're going to have some challenges, but it's important. Excuse me. So which of the following departments is most likely to be a cost center? A sales department, selling industrial tools, the call center of a company that serves customers and cross-sells other products. Okay, what do you think this would be? This would be a profit center, right? So it serves customers and then cross-sells, so it's got cost plus revenue. Maintenance department of a luxury resort. Okay, they are not making money here. I would say that would be a cost center. And the research department of a company providing consultancy services, and this one confuses me a little bit. I don't know if they're providing the consultancy services outside of the company. That's how it looks to me. Then it would be a profit center, but C is definitely the answer here. Okay, I think one more. And then we'll start with budgeting. So Beer is preparing for his annual review with the Vice President. He spent the last week reviewing the monthly reports, focusing on sales made by his representatives. Overall, he thinks he's in a good position. He made 103% of his KPIs for sales, and expenses are within 1.5% of budget. During the meeting, the VP comments that Beer's sales numbers are good and he's happy with the expense management. So what kind of responsibility center is this department? Excuse me. Is it a cost center? Just a cost center? He's responsible for revenue too, right? He's a profit center because he's responsible for generating sales revenues and maintaining expenses. It's not a revenue center, and I don't believe we have any control over the investment, right? So we're talking about sales and expenses. That's it. So this would be a profit center. Okay, that would be B. Okay.